you right now have 114,000 followers. So I'm going to ask you the question that everybody probably wants to know. Have you ever bought followers?
Yeah.
Let's dial back. Let's get into it.
When I had 2,000-3,000 followers, I was still getting business from my Instagram.
At the start of this, you're just trying to get eyeballs.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you want to train your audience to be thinking a certain way.
YouTube is not easy. It is hard. I don't see myself as a creator. I film content because it needs to get done.
Your caption on this one says, "This is going to be a crazy weekend." Do you remember that post?
No.
I just want you to explain the post.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's so
Tell me
funny.
about that crazy weekend. What is up, everyone? This is an episode of Wealthy Creator. I'm so happy you all are here to join us. Today, we're going to have a good guest, man. I consider him a friend of mine. He is a partner in our Pineda company. For those that are a part of the community, they will know him. They will recognize him. For those that don't, today we have Brian Davila. How you doing today, Brian?
Excited to have myself on this podcast.
Yes, man. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah.
Really grateful that for anyone that sits down with me and takes this time. This is the Wealthy Creator podcast, so we are going to talk a lot about content, a lot about your creative process.
Okay.
But before we jump into it, why don't you tell this audience about yourself?
So first of all, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. I'm excited for you and this podcast. I know it's going to be a long journey.
Absolutely.
Me, I'm from Puerto Rico, moved to Las Vegas when I was 5, grew up single mother, dropped out of high school, got into real estate at 25 as a real estate agent, took that very seriously. And then when I was 27, got into real estate investing. That's when I met my partner, Ryan Pineda, kind of taught me the ropes on real estate investing, did a whole bunch of that. And yeah, now I'm just like buying rentals. I got a few Airbnbs, flipping houses. Me and Ryan partnered on a company called Wealthy Investor, where we teach people real estate investing. Was living in California for a long time. Just recently moved back to Vegas. Now we're here.
So you said you grew up in Vegas.
Yes.
Then you got out.
Then I left Vegas.
Okay. And so I can tell a little bit of my experience with Brian early on. I was working for the company maybe 6 months to a year before I even saw who Brian Davila was.
Oh, that's good.
So we even had a mastermind before I ever knew who you were.
Yeah.
I could see your face on everything. And I was like, wait, who is this guy? We keep saying his name and I see him on a coaching call on the TV.
Yeah.
But I have no idea, is he really existing or is he just a myth? Is he some type of
ghost or
AI created thing? So I was like, the first time I saw you walked in, you had on T-shirts, jeans, and Yeezys.
Same thing, yeah.
And so
still got him on.
Not much has changed.
He
but it's funny because I think I didn't get to really know you until you kind of moved back for the second time.
Yeah.
So, speak a little bit about where you were, what you were, what the separation was from being here in location and, working at home.
Well, so I was kind of managing the company virtually for 2 years. And it was a little bit easier because the company was a lot smaller. So when I came on, it was just me and Roham. And then I actually hired Mariella. Mariella was the first hire. So it was me, Roham, Mariella. I'm pretty much doing sales. Roham's helping with sales. And then Mariella's doing admin. Mm-hmm. And then I hired 2 more salespeople. And then that was Carmen and another guy named Cameron. And then I hired another salesperson named Genesis. So I'm just hiring a bunch of salespeople. Yeah. So it wasn't that hard, you know what I'm saying? And then as we scaled, we actually didn't really scale the staff until I moved here, actually, because that's when we hired Crystal, Steven, Danielle. Most of the people didn't get hired till I actually moved here. Yeah. So it was easier managing 4 people than right now we have 40 people on payroll. So now it's a little bit different. So
yeah, I think there's something to be said about the difference in being your kind of like your own entity and working for yourself most of the time
Yeah.
and creating your own schedule, your
Yep.
own process, your own
Yep.
systems versus having to like actually manage a team
Yeah.
and multiple people, I
Yeah.
guess you say, right?
Yeah.
So the creative process in that now, right? Like I saw it first person, but
Yeah.
like talk about a little bit about the difference in actually being here in
Yeah.
person versus managing,
A team,
at home.
virtually. Yeah. So it was actually hard because in real estate, as a real estate agent, most of the time, you don't have a boss. So let's just say I want to say whatever I want to say to a client. There's no repercussions.
Yeah.
There's no, oh, let me talk to the manager. It's like, oh, let me talk to my broker. Talk to my broker. What is he going to do?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I make him money.
Right.
So the relationship is different. And then coming into this role where like I have a partner, there's a lot of employees. Like I had to become a little bit more corporate and kind of understanding more like a management leadership role. So again, if I'm an investor and I buy a house, the construction crew that's fixing up the house, they work for me. There's no filter.
Yeah.
If I'm selling it, the realtor, they work for me. If they don't like it, I fire them. I can say whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. And I'm just saying like it was less buttoned up for sure. Not like it was like bad, but there was no leadership really required in that. I was leading myself, right? And contractors. So they come in, they fix the house, they bounce. That's it. I'm not in control of their skills or their livelihood. It's like, hey, I pay you $12K for this floor. You do it, you're done. That's it.
Yeah.
Where now we have like W-2 employees that are here 9 to 5, and I have to train them. I have to onboard them. I have to make sure they have all the tools that they need. I got to make sure that their relationship with other employees are going well. I have to make sure about that what I say doesn't affect them. So there's still a learning curve that I'm going through because this is the first time I've had W-2 employees. So now, I'm learning more of that side of the business, which is very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it a little bit, and let's just be real with it, right?
Yeah.
Because I love, like, it's funny. I had the pleasure of seeing you work through how to manage emotions.
Oh yeah. I still have to work on it.
which is fun. I mean, we've had conversations. We sat
Yeah.
down and talked, and it was like, because I experienced the same thing before leading this team.
Yeah.
I was really kind of just doing my own thing in the creative space. I was never really.
Yeah.
It's funny enough, like I didn't understand how important delegation was to a
Yeah.
business. I didn't understand how important having a team was. It was like, all right, I could have 50 edits due tomorrow. I'm gonna stay up all night and do 50 edits.
Yeah.
Right. That's just how I was functioning, and so coming into this space kind of taught me, you have to develop the relationship to be able to trust them to get the work done the way it's supposed to get done.
Yep.
And in that, communication has to be strong.
Yep.
You have to understand like people's personalities,
Yep.
understand people's moods. So it was funny. Like I got to see instances where I was like, oh, Brian, don't say that.
I know.
Don't say that. And so like seeing you, even just since you've been here to now, it's been tremendous growth. Like I've seen how people respond to you.
Yeah.
It's much better than what
Yeah.
it was early on. And I know that could be hard because, again, you were working for yourself, kind of doing your own thing.
I know.
There was nobody to make angry at that point.
Exactly.
So I find that really interesting. And just a word to any creator out there who's getting ready to develop their team and kind of learn how to structure their process with a team.
Mm-hmm.
It's important that you kind of study leaders that are already doing it and read up, maybe listen to some podcasts on leadership and just learn, people's ways. I know we do the predictive index, the PI index. I mean, that is so useful if you really put it to use.
Yeah.
Because it tells you exactly how people want to be managed, right?
Yeah.
Like you have those individuals that need the micromanaging,
Yeah.
right? Like they kind of need you to kind of stay up on them and motivate them and keep them going.
Yeah.
You have individuals that hate it. They like, look, I'm going to get the job done. Don't look over my shoulder every 10 minutes. And you got to kind of learn who those individuals are separately and how to function with them. So that's really interesting, like that you mentioned it, because that's a big part of this whole thing, especially when it comes to scaling a business.
Yeah.
The bigger you get, the harder it probably gets,
100%.
and you got to be able to trust the people that you work with. Fortunately for us who, the people that are here on site with all of the wealthy companies, we kind of enjoy each other's company.
Yeah.
there are a lot of friends that hang out outside of work, and it makes for a really good environment.
100%.
And our core values play a big part in that. Like who you hire matters. So that's an interesting thing. Talk about a little bit about how you hire and what you look for in individuals.
Well, there's a few types of hires. So sometimes we're hiring based off culture, core values, and then there are times where we're hiring based off a skill. Because let's just say, for an example, a UX UI designer. So that's someone that builds websites, right?
Yep.
If they could be the nicest person in the world, fit the core values, really nice, like we like them, they fit the culture, but if they can't do that specific skill, we're not going to hire someone where we have to teach them how to do that. Mm-hmm. So it's tough now because as we grow and as we, start niching down positions, people have to come in with experience. Yeah. Which is tough, right?
You're looking for A players.
We're looking for A players that they're going to come in and they're going to teach us how to do their role, right? So another example is we are looking for a creative director right now, right?
Okay, you all hear that?
Yeah, creative director. Hit us up. And a PR person, right? We can't hire someone that we like, that we have a lot of trust, but they don't have any PR experience. Okay. At this level, we can't do that. Where before it was fine, but now we can't do learning on the job. You have to come in and we need PR now. Yeah. We need to see results now. So now it's mostly about experience. And then we'll look into, okay, is this a culture fit? Do we have a work ethic? Do we think that they'll stay? But yeah, mainly it's experience right now because the positions that we're looking for are very niche. Mm-hmm. Where like a salesperson, then we could do culture, what's their work ethic like? Do we think they're a natural salesperson? We could turn them into a good salesperson by starting them off as like a setter and then moving into a closer. Right. But again, if we're hiring a website developer, they have to come in with that skill.
Yeah. And, side note to that, if you are looking to be a part of the company, this company particularly, be ready to make adjustments. All right. Yeah. Our space is not for anybody that is unwilling to adjust on the fly. Yep. And that's just a word of advice from somebody that's been in it about 3 years. Yep. I've done several different things in position wise. I've had several different duties change on me, and it's just been important to be able to do that because we are operating as a team, right? Like each of us, when we operate well, is when we all operate kind of in unison and together. 100%. Creating for each other. To get the result that we're looking for. So yeah, that's creative director is a position that's going to be key. Yep. This PR person we should have got years ago. We should have tried to find this years ago, but when we do, it's going to make a big difference in the company. So 100%. If you're out there, be sure to reach out. DM. You could DM Brian Davila. Yeah. You could DM jberry30. Yeah. Even Ryan Pineda to get a response if you're interested. Mm-hmm. So you talked about a little bit about partnering with Ryan. Uh-huh. Tell me, how's working with Ryan on the day-to-day?
It's interesting because I think Ryan he's a genius in some aspects, like not just even like, oh, he's smart. Like he's a legit genius in like marketing, in team building, in vision. Like he's just very high level. And sometimes you have to really trust the process. For example, I remember when we first started the rookie coaching program, he was like, yeah, we're going to make $15,000 a month. And I was like, bro, how, Sway? How are you going to make it? That's a lot. Like, that's a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? I don't really believe
I'm
that.
Not seeing it.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing it.
Yeah. I'm like, who's going to pay for this? Yeah. And then, of course, it did, and it grew, and it grew, and it grew. I remember there was times where he was like, yeah, we're going to do $100K a month. I was like, bro, like, how? I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. Yeah. Now we'll do that in 2 days. So he definitely like can see into the future. He could definitely have really big visions. So just being willing to trust was a big part of being able to work with him. I've also learned like he's taught me like he's so nice and supportive where I'm more like critical and kind of like demanding. So I still
needy, really needy.
Yeah. I need to like learn how to do that because he does a really good job with his team of like complimenting them, telling they're doing a good job, not being down their throats, being very not micromanaging people. That's another thing where I struggle with where I'm like,
what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Come on, do this, do that, do this, do that. Where he's kind of like not on people. He gives them the trust, and I feel like it empowers them to actually work hard because they don't want to let him down. I know for me, he's never micromanaged me. I just didn't want to let him down. Right. So like he's done a really good job with that. So yeah, I mean, I just think all around really brilliant guy.
Yeah. I've definitely experienced some of the same things.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like going back to when you first came and you moved back in, and having like your energy in a room changes a room. Yeah. Right. And so me being me, I'm like, all right, he's gonna be here. So you gotta figure out how to deal with this. Yeah. And you gotta kind of get to know the person so that you learn how to deal with them. Like I graduated with a sociology, criminology degree.
I didn't know that.
So studying psychology, I did 5 years of studying all of that. So personality was a thing I studied, but getting to know individuals would teach me how to actually respond and react to them. Yeah. So the very first thing I did after like a week of you in office, I text Ryan. I go, Ryan, how do you deal with Brian?
Oh, that's good.
Right? Like, and it wasn't like how you deal with him, like I'm tired of this guy. Yeah. It was this is your partner.
Yeah. How do you deal with him?
I know you see something in him, right? Because I trust Ryan totally with how he has like how he chooses the people that he keeps around him. Right. So I was like, how do you deal with Brian? You know what he texts me back?
What?
I don't.
Oh yeah.
So here's what I heard. I didn't hear like, no, I just don't. I heard I don't, meaning that Brian is good at what he's doing. You don't have to deal with it. No. You just have to know it's there. Yeah. And work around it. Right. And so it's like, okay, now that when I realized that, I was like, okay, so there's nothing I can say, there's nothing I can do that's gonna change the way Brian functions and the way he works.
There will, but
no, it's not, because what it is, it's needed for what we're trying to do. Yeah. Right, like that energy is still needed for what we're trying to do bigger, huge things, right? Yeah. Like our goals are like way huge. Bigger than what anybody is in front of us doing. Like we want to be the biggest and the best at what we do. Yeah. And so in that conversation when he said that, I was like, oh, that makes total sense. Like to me, he didn't have to say more. Yeah. I was like, okay, I get it. Like what he's doing is necessary to what we're trying to accomplish. Yeah. So figure out how you can assist it. Yep. Right? Yeah. Because it ain't going nowhere. Yeah. It ain't going nowhere. And if it's working, like up to this point, we know that it can continue to take us to the next level if we all develop in that way. 100%. So it was like, okay, figure out how to help his process and get involved in his system and his process, learn it so that we can figure out how to keep it moving. Because at first I'm like, dude, this dude is crazy. Like,
why? I don't get that. Yeah.
So it's funny. Like I watch, again, going back to just the conversations, right? Like I watched somebody who planned an entire mastermind, and then the Monday that we got back, you was like, "Why aren't we doing that yet?" And I was like, I forgot what the actual thing was, but I was like, "Bruh, she just coordinated the whole mastermind."
I know,
and I was
that's
like,
something,
And I was like, but I watched her response, right? And I'm like, she gonna cry in the car, yeah. But I watched her respond with getting it complete.
I know.
And so I was like, yeah. So even though it was a rough day for her, she really learned a lot in that process and got pushed to like her fullest potential.
I know.
Right? And so I want to give you credit for that because even though watching it is like, bro, what is wrong with him, right? But you get full credit for really trying to pull out of people what they're capable of, essentially. And so I think it's not always a bad thing.
It's not always a
delivery
bad thing.
can be better.
Terrible, but
it's not bad.
What I've learned in general also is people really they underestimate how fast things can grow because they think they're doing more than they actually are. Yeah. So an example would be they work Monday through Friday, right? And, they think, oh, I worked 40 hours. It's like, okay, well, you took an hour break every day. You did leave early that one day at 3.
Yeah, you took a walk.
Yeah, you took a walk. So that's 7 hours from your 40 that aren't actually there, right?
Right.
And then, the weekend you did nothing. And then you come back on Monday and, you think you're working really hard. Where I have pushed myself where, let's say, I swear to you, I woke up at 4 a.m. I drank coffee, went outside at 4 o'clock in the morning, went and left door hangers. Do you know what a door hanger is? Like flyers?
Yeah.
On people's door between 4 and 5 a.m. when it's dark out.
Yeah.
Dark.
Yeah.
Like literally that. So did that. And then went to the gym after that. Came home, took a shower, went to the office, start cold calling by like 7:30. And I would do that all the way till 8:30. And I'm not taking an hour break. I'm not chit-chatting with my neighbor. I am hardcore focused on what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Go home, debrief, go to bed at 10, do the same thing over again. And I could do that for a long time. And then I see exponential growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think if anybody wants like real change in their life, not just like, oh, I make an extra 5K. Like it takes that because you learn so fast. So if you look at that team member that runs the events, right? She learned how to run events really fast.
Yeah.
And she got thrown out there. She went through the stress. I'm sure there was times where she cried. I'm sure there were times she tried to quit.
Yeah.
But she learned how to do it, and now we do it with no problem.
Right.
Literally, we have a huge event, and I'm like, "Are you stressed?" She's like, "No." Like, she's having a big event. It's not stress, but her work capacity went way higher than what the average is, and now she could do more than the average person.
Yep.
So that's what it takes, I think. Look at Ryan, right? With filming content specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan could sit his ass down and bust out a whole YouTube video in less than 30 minutes, right? If he didn't put in the time, effort, and patience and doing it over and over and over again, he couldn't do that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, and that's one thing that I've like tried to learn from him. I saw it day one. I was like, this guy's a machine.
Yeah.
Like it's a machine. Like day one, I was like, okay, we just filmed 2 podcasts. He just talked to somebody that he met for the first time for 2 hours.
Yep.
Then he got on a call.
Yep.
Then during his lunch, he's meeting with someone else.
Yep.
Right? Like it was just nonstop. Like the amount of stuff that he got done in an 8-hour span. I was like, okay, I get it. This is why he can turn it off at 5. And this is why he can shut it down on the weekends. Well, what he considers turning off at 5.
Yeah, leaving the office at 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so, because I don't think you can, when you're really trying to grow, you can't turn it off. Like it's not a thing where like, because I get fussed at home all the time because if my phone is next to me, it's something I could be doing. That's just how I feel, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a piece of content out there I need to see. There's something I should be studying. There's an email I should be responding to.
Yeah.
There's something going on. Like the team member needs something. And so it's like, okay, sometimes you do got to push it away.
Yeah.
Right? But most of the time I'm like, okay, when she's not looking, I'm going to go ahead and knock that out really quick. Or in between the kids taking a nap, all right, let me get something done. So turning it off is like not being here, but you're still active.
Yeah.
But just the amount of work that he was able to complete in the time that he was here, I was like, okay, you got to step it up. You got to figure it out. It's time to start waking up earlier.
Yeah.
It's time to get that gym in the mornings. It's time to do all those things that will kind of propel you above your competition, right?
100%.
Do the extra things. It just took me back to like playing sports. I was like, like I understood that very well when I was playing college basketball. Like, no, I had to be in the gym more than anybody else.
Yeah.
I didn't have the pleasure of being 6'10", 250 pounds, right? Like, so I gotta figure out where my advantages are. My advantages are how much work I'm willing to put in over the competition.
Yeah.
And so I saw that, right? Like, you hit on it, right away. Like, this is how you have to be in order to get to that next level. So kudos to you for pushing your team and getting your team prepared for, what's to come, essentially. Because I've also seen it where those individuals that's not willing to put that work in, they're not here, right? Like they're just not willing to do what it takes to make it to that next level. And so they're gonna miss out on all of the stuff that we do. So Moving on, though, let's just talk a little bit about content.
Yeah.
All right, what we're really here for.
Yeah.
You right now have 100 and let's say what 14,000 followers on Instagram. How long you been on Instagram?
I've probably been on Instagram probably since like 2016 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you the question that everybody probably wants to know.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever bought followers?
Yeah. I have.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about. Okay. Let's dial back. Let's get into it. Tell me about reason why first.
Yeah.
And then tell me how that went and how that process went for you after doing it. Like,
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Did you achieve what you were setting out to accomplish?
So this is when I was already working with Ryan, right? And I remember there was a guy we were talking to, and he swore to us that they were going to be real followers.
Okay.
So we're like, okay, so the strategy and the thought behind it was we're going to pay for all these real followers, and then we're going to market to them on my Instagram. So I'm going to make reels. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Stories, all this stuff. Get them into our sales funnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Brian and I invested $10,000 to $15,000, and because they were real.
Yeah.
So it was not supposed to be fake.
Right.
This is very real people.
Right.
We did it. I think at the time I was like at 3,000 to 5,000 followers, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was growing, but we're like, oh, this is like marketing. It's like 10K. Paid for it. I think I went up to like 30,000 followers.
Okay.
The problem was once it started, I immediately, like the day of, I was like, these are all fake followers. So I told the guy, stop. I was like, stop doing it. They're fake followers. Like, I don't want fake followers. I told him very specifically, they're fake followers.
Was it like the HHHW? Yeah.
Just trash. Just straight trash.
Just numbers and letters.
Yeah. A bunch of people from Brazil.
One post.
All these other crap. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a bunch of fake crap.
Yeah.
So we did that. And then it was supposed to be a hybrid of giveaway real followers and then like thousands of DMs sent out to other influencers' followers to follow my page.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So what happened was a bunch of fake followers, and then a few DMs went out where people would tell me, "Hey, I got a DM saying this." So I know the DMs went out.
Okay.
But I think it was like 99% just fake followers.
Fake. Yeah.
So anyway, so that happened. And I told the guy, I was like, cut it off. I don't want to do it. Like, stop. He didn't listen. He just kept it going or whatever. Yeah. He was like, oh, trust me, Instagram, blah, 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 blah. Just a complete liar, to be honest. That guy actually ended up getting in trouble. But
we'll move on.
Yeah, we'll move on. Anyways, so that happened. My Instagram account got very affected where my views went down. So let's just say before I would average 1,000 views, which isn't a lot, but I'd get 500 to 1,000 views. It went down to like 100. Whoa. Like I got shadow banned for a little bit.
You got 50,000 followers.
Yeah, 30,000 followers and then 100 views. So I was like, oh shit. Yeah, so I was pissed because I was like, dude, I
was doing better before.
Yeah, I was doing better before. He lied to me. So he blatantly lied to me. And I was going to say something else, but yeah. So he lied to me, long story short. So my account was messed up. So I was like, all right, well, damn, it's all messed up. I'm not going to really I don't care anymore. Mm-hmm. So after like a few months later, I started posting again, and then the views started getting back to where they were before.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, like the health of my Instagram is back.
Yeah.
And then I believe it was 2022. I was like, okay, I'm going to take social media serious. So I got a editor in California, and he also did video. I love the way he edits. I still love the way he edits. But I started filming with him and posting with him. Okay. And then, start out 1,000 views and 2,000 views. And then it started getting up to 10,000 views per video. And then I had one that had like 2.6 million, one that had 800,000. It just started blowing up, all organic, no fake. Yeah. And then I had that viral one that got over, I think 2 that went over 1 million. Mm-hmm. And then I had a call to action on them, like say, hey, follow me. Okay. And that's when my followers shot up on just like 2 videos. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the story of
All
my
right, so
Instagram.
you all are hearing it, and there's a couple things you can take away from what he just said. One being that, let's say you made the mistake of buying followers. I'm just going to call it a mistake because
Yeah, it is a
Justin
mistake.
has never heard anything good from people that have done
No.
that.
I feel like back in the day it worked.
Yeah,
I feel like back in the day,
before people knew that you could.
Yeah. When there's like a company called like High Key Clout where they like get like, oh, Tyga will give a PlayStation.
Right.
I think that might work.
Austin remembers that.
Yeah. I feel like that could have worked. I didn't try it, so I don't know. But I thought that's what was going to happen.
Right.
And it ended up being, bait and switch.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, just know though, like for those that have done that and they are seeing like their Instagram views and engagement tank, he gave it a second, started posting again.
Yeah.
Completely organic, no help from any bot or anything like that, and put in the work, right? You hired the guy, you got him to edit, you posting, went back to being consistent and really going all in it, and you built it back up, right?
Yeah.
And so like, I know from other people's experience too, like those fake ones fall off.
Exactly.
Right. And so what happens essentially is like you almost reactivate your account and you get back into the grace of the algorithm and you start to see benefit from all your posting. So if you don't feel like you have to go create a new page, don't feel like that. Like if you're willing to give it a little time and really put the work in, you can kind of get your page back to where you want it to be.
I think what I did good, where I see a lot of people mess up, is they pay for the fake followers. It kills the engagement. And then they start paying for engagement.
Ew.
And then that shit just doesn't work.
Yeah,
it doesn't work. You'll get like 100 views with 300 likes.
Yeah, you're like doubling down on the thing that hurt you.
Exactly. So what I did was I ended it quick because it was supposed to be a 6-month thing or a 3-month thing. I ended it in like a month.
Okay.
And then I went from 30,000 followers down to like 23,000. Like they were just like falling off super fast. And I just stopped caring. I was like, I don't even care anymore. Like I don't care about my Instagram.
Yeah.
But then once I saw the health was coming back, then I really took the time to like film content, really like pay attention to what I was doing. And that's when I was able to like grow all that.
Yeah. And the other thing you said that you kind of touched on was that you really started to focus on like adding the CTAs and almost inviting the engagement too.
Yes.
And so that helps. And a big key that anybody that's listening should understand is that he said he got a lot of followers from 2 videos.
Yep.
Right. So it was the consistency that got you to that point.
Yeah.
Right. You was like, okay, the couple early on may not done that well. Probably didn't hit off too well.
No.
You got one that hit really decent, and then, hundreds of thousands maybe.
Yeah.
And then you got the one that did 1 million.
Yeah.
And you got another one that did 1 million.
Yeah.
And now you're up over 100K on your following. So that just goes to show you that like the consistency pays off. And that Wealthy Creator, the coaching program, the education program, that's one of the things that we always try to teach. We try to make sure that individuals understand like you could be playing the long game in this. Right. But your consistent investment in yourself and creating the content, putting the content out will eventually get you to where you're trying to go.
Yeah.
Obviously, take some little strategy here and there.
Yeah.
It takes some luck sometimes in some certain areas, depending on your niche. But understanding that continuing to do it, it eventually will pay off. So
and honestly, it's funny too because when I had 2,000-3,000 followers, I was still getting business from my Instagram.
Yeah.
So I was getting wholesalers hitting me up. I was getting agents hitting me up. I had instant credibility when anyone looked me up. So like even at 2,000-3,000 followers, I was doing just fine, to be honest. I was still making money on Instagram.
Yeah.
So the 100,000 followers, I don't make 100 times what I was making when I was with 3K followers.
Yeah.
Like it's a nice little flex, but it could go away. And like, I think at 5,000, 3,000 followers, even like a couple thousand followers, like it depends on your business, but you only need a handful of clients to make it worth it, depending on the industry.
Yeah, I mean, right now I think I have 6,000 followers, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a crazy number. It's not.
Yeah.
I barely post on it sometimes, right? Like I'm just starting to post more often, but of the 6,000, the majority of them I have actually had contact with.
Yeah.
Where either they're looking for some type of consultation or they're looking for some help with some equipment, some lighting, something in the creative space. And so it does show you that. Even for Ryan, right? Like Ryan has over 300K on his Instagram, but he could fill 1,000-person room easily with a few mentions of an event on his page, right? Like, it's just effective.
I wouldn't say that. But yeah.
How do you he fills 1,000 people's room the last 6 events?
That's what you think, but we actually run a lot of ads.
But see, that's the difference though. Like, what do you use to run the ads?
Facebook.
Right, and what type of content?
Short form. So yeah, so I get, yeah,
it's the
I
same
guess
content.
what you're saying. Yeah.
It's
But
the
there's
same
money
content.
behind it, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Getting eyeballs is one thing.
Yeah.
But like, he can get enough people in a room to fill a room with the push, right? Like, we don't necessarily push on his Instagram. You know that, right?
We don't.
You argue about it all the time.
Yeah.
Right? If every other post was about WealthCon,
yeah,
how much money will we have to spend on ads necessarily, right?
Yeah,
you could kind of measure that out and kind of play that game if we wanted to go like, all right, let's see who can do it better. But it's fun to know, or it's good to know that you don't need the 1 million+ followers to be effective in your industry, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can be effective with, just a reasonable amount of people that can convert.
Yeah.
I always teach people in the creator program to you're at the start of this, you're just trying to get eyeballs.
Yeah.
Afterwards, you want to train your audience to be thinking a certain way, right? Like, because we've partnered with creators that couldn't sell a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Right. Because they've trained their audience to save everything. Right. It's like save money. So when you introduce a product to them, they're like, why would I buy from you? Right.
Yeah.
Rather than having an audience that's like, no, you telling your audience you need to invest in yourself. This is what worked for me. I invested in myself. I have these people that are over me and leading me and guiding me into new things and teaching me new things. I'm in this mastermind. I'm in this program, showing them that he's actually active in it and doing it. It's easy to train them and to condition them to know, like, hey, this is a product, we know him, and now we can trust him with our money to be able and support whatever it is that he's doing. So I think, like, if you have a small audience now, whether that be 5K, 10K, whatever it is, start to kind of condition them to know, like, hey, I can be trusted. I am the individual, the authority in this space that can help you grow and get to where you want to go. So
I agree.
It's pretty 100%. Interesting. It's interesting to hear that story though. Like, I'm gonna ask almost everybody that comes on this. So you'll see. Yeah, it's like
some people gonna lie. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I know people gonna lie about it, but I think you'll be able to tell from the nervous energy. Like I told you, I studied it, so I'll see what type of reactions I get from those individuals. But it's not to kind of point it out and make fun of it. I think it's a lesson to be learned there.
Yeah,
and that's actually a frequently asked question that I get in the program too. Is like after they're in the program for a month and they've posted for 30 days straight, and they're like, I'm not seeing any growth, right? Like that was a lot of work. Like they haven't put in near as many videos as they need to just yet. But they're like, should we just buy? And I'm like, okay, this is what's gonna come from that.
Never buy, dude.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Ryan got full too, because he paid too.
Yeah.
But we thought it was gonna work.
Right.
So we tested it out on mine to see what happened.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a learning lesson.
Yeah, no,
Would
it's
I
good
do
stuff.
it again? Right now, no. But in hindsight, I'm glad I did it, because then I would have always wondered, like, okay,
should I be doing it?
Because I was like, that's why we paid a lot, because we went to the best.
Right.
And that's what happened.
Right. Yep. So moving on, let's get past the buying files. Don't nobody buy. I won't make fun of you. My next question, I guess, would be more towards your YouTube.
Okay, YouTube.
So the way I knew Brian Davila before I got to see him, the only thing I could research and find on you was your YouTube page at the time.
Yeah.
So I got to see a little bit of personality in there, but then you stopped the Brian Davila YouTube.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Bro, YouTube is hard.
Okay, I'm glad you said it.
YouTube is not easy. It is hard. I think, honestly, too, I know this is called the Creator Podcast. I don't see myself as a creator.
Okay.
I film content because it needs to get done, not because I like to create content. So with YouTube, it is a lot of work, and you need creativity because there's so much out there that, you could search, let's say, what is a hard money loan? There's hundreds of those videos where, like, because YouTube is search based, I feel like you have to be so much more better than the competition, where Reels is kind of like Instagram feeds you Reels. You don't really, I don't know about you, but I don't search stuff on Instagram.
Right.
So I just think YouTube is so hard, and I'm just a little bitch about it, to be honest. You might want to beat it up.
It sounds like you don't want to put in the work.
Yeah, I am not willing to put in the work. And it's just super hard. Yeah.
Let me be the first to say you are a creator.
Yeah.
Reason being, and the reason why I call you a creator, or anyone that's in your shoes that's doing what you're doing, is that your business can thrive from your creation in the content space, right? And so you understand that, which is why you do it.
I would call myself a marketer. I think there's a difference between a marketer and a creator.
There is a difference, but you picked up a Lamborghini today to go film.
We did it.
Well, that was your plan.
Yeah, that was the plan.
Right?
Houston.
So but I say that to say like that was you in your creative space.
Yeah.
Right. And so everybody does it different, right?
Yeah.
Like, and there's some people that can create at a super high level some of the most unique content that you ever seen.
Like Mr. Beast.
Yeah. All right. Like, not, there's one of those, right?
Yeah.
Like, what I mean? But there's people that can do that have the brain and the operation upstairs to just be like, all right, this is what people want to see. This is going to be the most epic thing I ever do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes, the way those individuals work is that everything that they think about operates that way.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not even going to do it if it's not the craziest thing people will ever see.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's a big difference in like that level of creator versus the creator that's doing it as a function of their business, as a support of their business.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where you kind of fall because I've watched the content. I've been in it. I've been filming behind the scenes. I've seen it all. And there's different like elements that I've seen you in that I was like, okay, this is the Brian that people that want to be entertained would love to see. Yeah. Right. And then this is the Brian that people are coming to learn from. That's just the one that they want to see. Like you have those different kind of characteristics and different, like there's different Brians in certain situations. And so I think like calling yourself not a creator would not be fact. Like that, you are a creator. Yeah. But I'll say all that to say like, the YouTube is a hard thing, right? Like it takes skill, it takes talent, it takes repetition. Yep. It takes some luck again, right? Like it takes some of that, and then it also takes constant changing, right? Like you have to continue to change what you're doing and strategies that you're using to get better and better at it, right? That's just how it goes. Because there's no one strategy that I can go, this works for everybody. Nope. And so it's a hard task to do, but I look back on those videos and I was like, I wonder what your YouTube channel would be like.
Oh, if I kept it going?
If you kept it going.
Oh, I got better it.
Video by video.
Yeah, I would have been killing it. And I think, like I told Austin, so today we filmed a YouTube video. I did it in one take. I could talk because if I'm talking about real estate, I'm not like, I know it. I could explain it. It's not super complicated. It's where I have to be entertaining or I have to talk about things that I'm not too familiar with where it gets a little bit difficult. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I wish I would have kept it going, but at the same time, it's tough to do things that you don't really like to do, but it's also an excuse because I look at Ryan and I'm like, bro, this guy's making so much money making YouTube videos.
So would you say you prefer podcasting over?
I don't even like podcasting.
No?
No,
so no long form.
I just don't even like creating content, bro. Like I said, I'm probably the only podcaster that will openly say they don't like podcasting. I just don't like it. Okay. I think if my podcast would be more like just BS talking, I think I would like it more. But my podcast is very informational where I'm trying to teach people real estate investing. Yeah. And I know real estate investing, so there's not a lot of like entertainment there for myself personally. But yeah, I've never heard a podcaster say that, but I feel like
you're the first.
Yeah,
for sure.
Am I? Yeah,
you're the first for sure. I think even like we're using words like, do we like doing it? Right? Yeah. Right. And I think like you probably will find other people that's like, I don't really like doing it. But what it does for my business is where
it's necessary
and why, right?
Yeah,
like,
it helps.
So you'll do the things that's necessary.
Actually, I have heard Stephen say like, oh, I don't really want to make YouTube videos anymore, but he just does it because of what's happening from it. Yeah. So I have heard other creators say like they don't like what they're doing, but they just do it just because. Yeah. So yeah.
Most YouTubers that like doing it are the entertainers that like get to do something fun every day.
Yeah.
Or they're the vloggers that's
The
just
artists.
like, I just get to hold a camera and show my lifestyle
Yeah.
every day, right? Like it's kind of easy for them because they would be doing it anyway.
Yeah.
It's just a cameraman there.
Or
So
they're like an artist. They
Yeah.
like I'm gonna tell a story.
Right.
Like that I noticed those people like to do it.
Yeah.
And they'll keep doing it until
Yeah.
they get burnt out.
And they like the fame. Like,
Yeah, they
those are
love
the
the
other
fame.
those are the other
Yeah.
individuals. They just like to be recognized when they're out or
Mhm.
get the compliments from what they are doing online. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. No, you filmed a YouTube video today. So where is it going?
It's gonna go on the Wealthy Investor YouTube
Okay,
page,
okay.
baby.
Okay. so do you plan on filming more like that or?
I need to, and I think now that I'm actually doing real estate, that was another thing that was weird because like I've done hundreds of real estate deals, but I really kind of took a break from real estate this year. And now I bought my first house on Friday. I opened escrow on another house today. I'm opening another house after this.
Crush it.
So now I have stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
Because even for me personally, I used to freaking hate when I was a realtor and people would say like, right now it's 2023 when we're filming this. I used to hate when I would hear agents say, yeah, in 2022 I did this, in 2021 I did that. I'm like, bro.
What are you doing today?
Yeah. Right now, what are you doing? 'Cause that's all I care about. So I felt kind of like a phony making content about
Your
real
past
estate
stuff,
when I'm not even like doing it right now. So
Right.
now that I'm actually doing real estate again, now I will feel more comfortable. Maybe that's a mental block, maybe that's an excuse, but that's I think that's going to help me create more YouTube videos now.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, like I think your experiences is where like your value in the content comes from, right? Like you have now done it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You've partnered with a big creator and a big, influencer, and now you're hosting your own kind of element of the company, right? And so your experiences are like what's useful. Like I know there's stories that you've told me, right, about experiences that you've had while you've been out, looking at houses or like those stories are impactful because it puts somebody like myself who wants to get into the space, not quite there yet, right? It puts me in your shoes and in that element and allows me to go, okay, these are the things I need to look for.
Yeah.
These are the things. Like I came to you the other day talking about a house on information. And you got me that information so fast. I was like, okay, I need to be able to do that, right? I need to learn and understand how to do that. But seeing it visually and allowing, it to reach the masses is super valuable and super helpful. So even though it sucks, you hate doing it.
I know.
You're almost doing your audience a disservice by not sharing.
I know
those experiences
and I feel like I've realized also. So we all have our own way of explaining things, and there's going to be a demographic of people that look at me. They're like, all right, he's a minority. He didn't come from anything. He did this. He did that. And they see themselves in me, and it helps me explaining it in the same terms that they use, opposed to someone who maybe they graduated from Harvard and they're 65 years old and they do everything by the book and they will explain the whole contract, where I could like simplify things and they understand it and they resonate with it more because it's coming from me.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I think like that's, again, even for me, like I never saw myself sitting in front of a camera speaking. I never saw myself on a stage at a workshop or like on any stage for that, like, for that instance. Like I never saw myself doing it, but I noticed the few pieces of content that went out that was shared. I looked at the individuals that were responding to it and I was like, oh, okay, they almost need someone like myself to show them that they don't have to do the simple 9-to-5 minimum wage thing. Like there are creative spaces that you can use the skills that you gain to kind of do things at a higher level. And so it was like, okay, like I started to feel a little bit different about it, right? Like before I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm behind the camera. I'm cool behind the scenes. There's money to be made behind the scenes. Get good, really good at what you're doing on the back end. And you'll always have an opportunity or a position to do it. Yeah. Then I was like, no, like you're more impactful with your voice while you're still in it. And so it's like, continue to do those things and get better and better at that behind the scenes. But also use your voice and kind of express some things because you are going to inspire whoever's up next and whoever's behind you watching. So I totally agree with you. Next thing.
Yeah.
I go through your media and I see what's out there before we hop on the podcast.
Okay.
And so one thing I'm gonna do for every episode, I always ask a guest about a piece of content.
Okay.
That they posted.
Okay.
That they have out already. And so this one's, it's not anything crazy. Like, you probably deleted all the wild stuff that you posted back when you first got on. But your caption on this one says, "This is going to be a crazy weekend." Do you remember that post?
No.
All right. I'm going to show you. We're going to share it on the screen so you all can see it. And I just want you to explain the post.
Okay.
All right. Here you go.
All right. Oh, that's hilarious. That's so
Tell me
funny.
about that crazy weekend.
Yeah. So that was in 2015. It's crazy how fast things go, but so in the picture it's 2 boxes of Cheez-Its and a book from Key Realty. So Key Realty is like the school that I went to learn how to become a realtor. So I guess in this post I was saying like, hey, like this weekend I'm just going to be studying this book and eating Cheez-Its. And it's funny because the post right below it, I can't see it. But
that's a picture, so you have to fill it up.
Yeah, it was from Wet Republic. So I used to work at the club at the time. So I think I was just explaining something like, hey, like I know I used to be clubbing, but now this weekend I'm actually just studying to become a realtor.
So that picture almost represents the lifestyle change right there, huh?
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of.
You got to print this and put it on your shelf in your office and show like this was what my weekends looked like when I wanted to change my life.
That's so funny. And the crazy thing about it's almost coming up on 10 years in like 2 years.
Really?
Well, yeah, it was 2015.
Wow.
So
how fast does that feel for you?
It feels so fast, and it's kind of sad because, and that's why I again talk about the hard work and the not taking time off. I guess not taking time off, but taking your time more serious, because like just time goes by so fast that like all these extra days of taking it easy, not doing much. Mm-hmm. I know there's days where some people work until really 12 and then they kind of check out for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Like it just, time just goes by so fast that you just gotta like make sure you're taking advantage of every moment, because before you know it, 10 years past.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure, it goes fast. I can tell. I know it goes fast. I mean, my life has been so different. If I go back to 2015, so much for me has changed
100%.
In that time period. And I really wanted to continue to do so. Like I want to continue on that incline.
Me too.
And really elevate through year by year.
Me too.
Quarter by quarter if I can. And so it's interesting.
Week by week. That's what I was going to say. Every week is so important. And that's something that I try to explain to the team. And that's what you said, what the story you brought up, but like, oh, last week we did the event. First week back, I'm like, hey, why we haven't do this? Because if you truly want to scale a business, you don't have that many weeks.
Yeah.
Every week is important. And if you get to the next step one week and the following week you get to the next step, the third week you're on the third step. But if you go the first week, you're on the first step. Next week you don't. And the following week you don't. You're just...
Now you're playing from behind.
Yeah, you're playing from behind. And then the next month you're like, oh, okay, well, let's try again. So that's why I take every week very serious. And I feel like a lot of people don't. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I brought that up.
Interesting stuff. I don't know what time we're at, but that's all I kind of have.
Yeah, that was great.
But I do, again, want to say thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah.
Before you go, though, tell me your goals for the rest of the year and then your goals for the next 5 years.
For creation?
For your whole process, you as a creator.
Oh, as a creator. So as a creator, I mean, honestly, I just want to get to posting once a day. That's what I want to get to right now.
We got to the end of the year to make sure Brian posts once a day.
I just want to get to once a day.
This is going to be tough, y'all.
It's going to be tough. And I want to film 2 podcasts a week and at least 1 YouTube a week. I feel like I could do it. Mm-hmm. That's what, if I could just do that, in a year, I should be like huge, honestly.
Yeah.
If I could just do that. It sounds so simple. 1 reel a day, 2 podcasts a week, 1 YouTube a week.
Sounds simple.
It sounds so simple. That shit is so hard. That's why Ryan's the guy, because he could do a video a day, 3 reels a day.
Yeah.
Fucking 7
He could get
podcasts a week.
He could get his month complete in a week.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So if I could just do that, I'll be happy. In 5 years, who knows where I'll be if I can just continue that. So we'll see.
All right. Anything else you want to say to anybody that's watching or listening?
Subscribe to whatever channel this is on, baby. Wealthy Creator.
Wealthy Creator. All right, y'all. Thank you for listening.
The reward for consistency is improvement. Over time, you're going to be like, man, I'm so glad I started. It's the testimony of every creator. I'm just glad I started posting videos.